I cannot believe the words I'm about to say. Inside of this box is a blaster that can compete with hobbyist level blasters. A blaster that uses an 11.1 volt LiPo, shoots at 150 FPS, uses half-length darts, is Talon mag compatible, all of the things you would expect from a blaster made from an enthusiast, but it's made by Nerf. This is the Nerf Pro Stryfe X. Right away, I have to give a huge thanks to both Out of Darts and Hasbro for sending me this blaster early. Full disclosure, they sent it to me for free. I didn't even know it existed until a couple of days ago when I got an email from Luke over at Out of Darts saying, hey, I watch your channel, I like it. Do you want a care package? I didn't know what was going to be in it, and then I saw his video of this yesterday. By the way, getting that email made my day. So let's go ahead and open this up, and the first thing you'll be greeted by is this big thing. Well, you guys probably won't get this, but this big thing from Out of Darts. Let me go ahead and quickly read it. I promise this package is going to be quite a surprise. It sure was for me. Nerf has taken our favorite flywheel blaster, the Nerf Stryfe, and upgraded this fan favorite to the Nerf Pro Stryfe X blaster. It reiterates a lot of the same stuff that I said in the intro, which was genuine because I didn't expect this. And then it says, we hope you enjoy it, Luke, which, again, this made my day. Thanks so much. And fun fact, when he emailed me, he asked for the address to send this to me. And I told him where I lived, and he goes, oh, I didn't know you were also in Portland. Have we met? Somehow we have dodged each other. We have never met, but they're in the same metro area as me, which was a complete coincidence. Okay, enough of that, though. Let's look at this box. It's a pretty high quality box. This is what you would expect from a pro line. And right in the front here, they're proudly displaying the new half-length dart. We'll talk about this later. But inside of the box, you get another box, and this is what actually has your blaster and everything inside of it. And even this, pretty high quality box. The first thing I noticed when I opened the box, and this is a weird observation, but it smells like a new car. I've never had that strong of a smell come out of a box before. But inside of the box, you get your eye protection, which this thing shoots 150 FPS, so it makes sense. You get 30 half-length darts, so enough to fill 2 mags. You get a recharging USB cable, because again, rechargeable LiPo. You get your manual. You get the battery itself. Yes, this is a battery. I'll talk about that in a second. And of course, you get the blaster and a magazine. Now, if you've been around in the hobby, this should look pretty familiar to you. And not just because it's a Stryfe, but because it looks like a modded Stryfe. Bigger flywheel cage, a bigger battery compartment, but in this case, it's just the battery itself. I mean, they very clearly looked at the modded Stryfe, saw everyone loving the hell out of it, and went, we'll just make that. And I have no complaints. I don't even have the love for the Stryfe that everyone else does. You see, when I got into Nerf, I was in middle school, early 2000s. That's when the Titan just came out. That's when the Maverick was going to come out in like a couple of years after that. That's about when I was really into Nerf. And then I fell out of Nerf to get into Airsoft, and then recently within the last couple of years came back. So I kind of missed the whole Stryfe craze. But even without being into Nerf at that time, I still saw modded Stryfes. That's how popular these were. I literally knew nothing. It just seems like these are everywhere. Mostly because they are. So of course this makes sense. This is the evolution of the Stryfe. Okay, enough rambling, let's get into the nitty gritty. This battery, as I said, is a LiPo. The way you connect it is actually kind of important, and it does say this in the manual as well. First off, in order to take it out, you push down on the button and then pull this back, and then you can lift it out. When you're putting the battery in, make sure to put the back in and then click it forward. If you do it the opposite way, like this, it will kind of click in, but you're not going to get a connection. So, make sure you put your back in first, and then there you go. Underneath the trigger guard is a safety. Safety on, you can't pull the trigger or the rev trigger. Everything is locked. Safety off. Let's talk about the rev time. It's pretty fast, which you would expect since it is using a LiPo. And again, before I can talk about that, I need to get into the finer details. It says it right on the back here. 11.1 volt, 1000 milliamps, 3S. So this is a true LiPo with all of the safety you would need for a LiPo built into this box. And that's why Nerf released this. I never thought I would see Nerf fully embracing LiPo batteries, but these were the hurdles Nerf needed to get over to have this on store shelves, to make it safe. And here it is. This should last a long time with it being a LiPo, and I'm sure you will be able to buy extra batteries, but I'm unsure how much they will cost. But okay, the rev trigger. Out of Dart's already released a video, so we know the rev time is about 40 milliseconds, so well under a second to fully rev up. That's on par with hobbyist level blasters, that's what you would expect. But let me go ahead and compare it to another more standard Nerf blaster. This is the recently released Nerf Double Punch. For all intents and purposes, this is effectively two Stryfes just merged together, so it should be a good comparison. So yeah, just using double A's, the time it takes for it to rev up is going to be significantly slower, but this is the leap forward that Nerf is making. It's long overdue, but it's very welcome. Speaking of long overdue, but very welcome, are the darts. This is a half-length dart only blaster. Again, I didn't think I was going to see Nerf do this. I always looked at it and went, why has Nerf not started making half-length darts yet? Here we go, we have made them. Let's go ahead and get this thing out of its cardboard prison and show you the new darts. So here it is. They have designed it on the Whirlwind design. If I can get a good look at this, I'm gonna have to zoom in. In theory, these dart heads are supposed to put a spin on the dart, making them more accurate. Also, with the dart head being wider, it gives the flywheel something more to grab onto. And these darts are actually of pretty high quality. The glue is pretty strong, the foam is a lot firmer than usual Nerf darts. Like, I can't believe I'm saying it, but Nerf has made some pretty good darts here. And not only have they made good half-length darts, but as I said, this blaster is Talon mag compatible. Anything that uses Talon mags works in this blaster. That means you could use ridiculous stuff like the 29-round Tachi mag that Out of Darts makes. And I can't confirm it works, I was just shooting it earlier. Again, long overdue, but at the same time, I didn't ever think I'd see Nerf do this. They're usually proprietary. They usually don't make anything work with anything because it needs to be a Nerf product. But they're going all in on making this work with modded stuff, and I love to see it. They did keep the typical Nerf stock attachment, which is a good thing because there are so many stocks. You can find these anywhere. Most things have adopted this. The one thing they did that was unique were the rails. There are rails on the bottom and top. These are not end strike rails, but they're also not Picatinny. They're thinner than Picatinny, so standard Picatinny stuff will not work on this. I'm not sure what they're for. Maybe they'll release new attachments. This part is a little bit weird. Other than that, yeah, upgraded Stryfe, same unjamming door and all. It's exactly what you would expect. So how's the performance? Well, with the half-length Nerf AccuStrike darts this blaster comes with, it's firing around 160 FPS. I know they claim 150, but my chrono was reading closer to 160. That's spicy for a default out-of-the-box Nerf blaster. With Worker Gen 3s, it dropped down to 120 to 130 FPS, which surprised me, so I also tried it with Ruby darts, and I got the same result. So then I decided to try Bamboo darts, and these were in the 140s, which is normal. You usually get a little bit of a boost with Bamboo darts. They are lighter and thinner, but they're still shooting nowhere near as hard as the default darts this came with. So then I thought, well, maybe it was the Whirlwind dart head design that was making it shoot harder. Maybe it was just giving more grip to the flywheels. So I have other ones made by Blaster Kits. Let's try those. And I was partially right. I was getting 135, 145 feet per second, but still not close to the default darts, which might be a little lighter as well. This got me very curious, and I went down the rabbit hole of trying these darts in all of my different blasters, at least all the flywheelers, and in my experience, this is mostly true with few exceptions. These darts in flywheelers shoot harder on average. Although something I need to clarify, it seems obvious when you think about it, these don't really work in springers very well. Springers usually have a thinner barrel, and the bigger dart head is just going to rub along the barrel. Probably get stuck, maybe plop out of the barrel. It doesn't really work with springers, and it's not made to. That's not a problem with the dart. If you're using a springer, it is recommended to use a smaller dart head instead of a waffle head or a whirlwind design. But yeah, in flywheelers, these work really well. But as we all know, FPS isn't everything. So I wanted to see how accurate these darts are. Now, this isn't the most scientific experiment, but it is something. I have two magazines, one with Worker Gen 3, one with the new Nerf AccuStrike half-length darts. I'm going to be bracing the blaster on the ground, aiming at the center target, and just trying to keep it as steady as I can to see how accurate it can be, depending on the dart. Now to clarify, after the first hit on target, I'm just holding the blaster steady for the most part, and seeing how many more hits we'll get. So when one veer off to the right or the left, that's just the inaccuracy of the blaster. And let's see if Worker Gen 3s, how they work. You know, I'm actually quite impressed. These new darts are pretty accurate. I was sort of expecting the Worker Gen 3s to pull away, but I was seeing more random shots that went further away with Worker Gen 3s than the new Nerf darts, which is something I never thought I would say. Now, if you're going to have any problems with darts, it's going to be in a full auto mag dump, so that's exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to kind of be looking for accuracy, but at the same time, mostly reliability. I had a little bit of a hiccup in the middle there, but accuracy was surprisingly good. I'm gonna try that again. Yeah, that time worked perfectly. I am not seeing any darts just shooting to the right or to the left. I'm not really seeing any darts fishtailing. They're actually working quite well. Okay, now Worker Gen 3s. Oh, jammed it up. That was significantly worse. And I'm not just talking about the jam in the middle there. One of the dart heads had dove down into the following ramp. They were kind of going all over the place accuracy-wise. I actually had better results with the Nerf darts, which I never thought I would say. Also, one of the dart heads flew back at me, ripped off. The dart head was from a Worker Gen 3 dart, by the way. To erase the chance that might have been the fault of the magazine or the blaster, let's do it again with a blaster I know works. First, Worker Gen 3s for an average. Now the new Nerf darts. Yeah, they're pretty accurate. I'm pleasantly surprised. They work really well. For the record, I did try this with other blasters and the result was the same. I am pleasantly surprised. These darts are good quality. The glue hasn't worn off of any of them so far. I've shot these a lot. I only have 30 of them and I've put them through so many blasters. They start to look a little bit chewed up like any other dart, but nothing that's concerning or unusable. And yeah, they're pretty accurate in my experience, so I'm getting a decent FPS boost and good accuracy. Again, Nerf brand darts. I never saw this coming. And I just have to reiterate why this is such a big deal. Up until this point, Nerf was releasing stuff like this. Now, this is really cool. It has a gimmick of shooting 2 barrels, so it shoots twice with 1 trigger pull. And I do like this thing, but performance-wise, it's about average from what you would expect from Nerf. So I shot these two side by side. Keep in mind, I'm trying to dual wield while leaning over a camera, and I'm not left-handed, so accuracy is not going to be the best, but you should be able to get the idea. So yeah, hopefully you can see why this is such a big deal now. Nerf at this point was ignoring this kind of blaster, and with so much competition on the market, I guess they had to at some point embrace it. But the way they've done it, the way they've gone out of their way to talk to people like Out of Darts and work with people actually in the hobby, is really good to see. I think that should be everything. If you want to get one of these, you can't currently get them, but they will be out in October and you can pre-order on Amazon right now. So I guess the only thing left to do is to shoot this thing. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Oh, and again, a huge thanks to Luke over at Out of Darts and Hasbro for sending me this early.